Hi guys, welcome to this video. This video is going to be about a number of freeware sites that are, sites that are available for fans of aviation and flight sim in terms of enhancing their flying experience. This first site is smartcockpit.com. I'm going to put all the addresses on a list in the description so that if you need to get access to them, it's available to do so. Now, this first website, Smartcockpit, the way it works is it downloads PDFs. So all of the details in here are PDFs in some way, shape or form, and it has like a PDF downloader, the way it works. So each PDF takes 20-30 seconds or whatever it is to download. So I'll do a couple of these first, and then we'll come back to looking at the actual documents that it's downloaded. Now, this is a resource that's pretty much used by professional pilots and generally professional pilots who fly large, complex commercial aircraft. So there's a couple of things that are really of use to us. There's a quiz section which is, if you really want to test your mettle, that's worth a look. But the two really are My Aircraft and FlightOps. So we'll open up FlightOps in the next window. This is My Aircraft, and as you can see there's a list of aircraft here. They do go as small as, say, the Cessna 208 Caravan, and they do go as large as the Airbus A380, and you can see most of the key critical sort of large aircraft are within this area. Now, some of them have more documents and some of them have less. So for example, if I click on the Jetstream, you can see there's nothing in there for the Jetstream 3132. There is more for the 41, but I'm going to choose an aircraft for which I know there's going to be a lot of information, which is the Airbus A320. Now, there are four basic sort of sections to this, for want of a better way of putting it. Systems are exactly that. They are learning all about the systems of an individual aircraft, as you would do if you were a professional pilot training on that aircraft. And let's see if we can find an interesting one to look at. Flight controls. So open as a new tab. What I'll do is I'll just go into that. You can see the download takes 20 seconds to start, so we've got that started. Flight patterns, really useful one this. Open a new tab. Let's see if that's downloading as well. And then Instructor's Corner. This is a really useful one. Not all of the aircraft have this. This is down to the sort of, if you like, the person who puts the material on. So basically, it's the people who put this on are generally going to be qualified or have some credibility in what they're doing, but this is down to the goodness of their heart to put it on. They're not necessarily being paid for this. So given that, the other thing we'll do there is we'll look at normal law protections, and the download is going to start in 20 seconds. You can see why I clicked on all of these and got it cracking. So that one's done. Close that window, and that one's firing off, so close that window now. Okay. The other one that we looked at was, or the other one I mentioned at the start, was the Flight Ops tab. And the Flight Ops tab, if you like, is one of these ones where it's all of the useful documents or articles that somebody might have written. So, understanding takeoff speeds. If I click on that, get another download. But whilst that's doing, we'll have a look at a couple of these. So the normal law one I clicked on and downloaded is basically a presentation style document going through the normal law protection systems that are in place on an Airbus A320. And I don't know, say you're flying the Aerosoft Airbus X Extended A320, this is really quite a useful document because, for example, this demonstrates that the normal law, because the fly-by-wire of an Airbus has three laws. It has normal, alternate and direct. And with each level there's a different level of protection for the pilot when they're flying the aircraft. And this is one such example. So this little diagram tells you that from 67 degrees angle bank one way to the other side, you've got automatic turn coordination through the electronic systems. If you're between 33 degrees left and right bank, then the aircraft will maintain whatever attitude you set it to, so the pitch and bank remain constant. Beyond that, you can go all the way to 67, but if you're between 33 and 67, it will just gradually return you to 33 degrees angle of bank. So you can read all about and find out about the systems that are present in the aircraft that you want to fly in FSX or X-Plane, which is fantastic. So that done that one. This is the understanding takeoff one, which we just had a look at. Flight operations briefing notes. So this is all about understanding V1, VR, and all the various speeds. So and things like minimum control on the ground, which is the effectiveness of the rudder at high single engine or power settings with engine failures, and so on and so forth. And this could be really quite interesting reading, but it can also be really quite heavy reading. So yeah, this is one for the real fans once you get into these areas like that. Smartcockpit, a couple more that we didn't look at. The ILS approach, we downloaded that. So here you go. That's a proper ILS approach landing technique for an Airbus A320. So that's what you would go through as a process. So if you're practicing your ILSs, this is what you would do. And then finally we had a look at the A320 flight controls, and this is from the pilot's operating manual basically. And if you want to know all about how the various flight controls integrate, then there you go, fill your boots. So that's Smartcockpit, a very, 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 very big resource. I can't emphasize enough just how much resources are available on this one website alone. However, it's for those who are, shall we say, keener about the minutiae of their aircraft and their aircraft operation. Certainly if I was going to operate one aircraft, I don't know, the Airbus A320, and I was going to operate it as close to real life as I could, this is a valuable resource. It's got other interesting bits, but really that's the depth it's looking at. So Route Finder, the next one is Route Finder. This is a free resource. Occasionally it goes down, and there is a commercial version which is available. So if you go to the commercial version, you can pay for it and you get other bits added on. I'm not quite sure what they are. Flight planning tools and all sorts of bits and bobs, but there we go. But there is a free access area. Now this is a very basic version, but it is still fully functional. So when you load up the screen, this is it. There's no fancy drawings on it or anything. You put in your departure, in this case Heathrow. You put in your destination, which in this case is Edinburgh. You choose your flight levels that you want to fly between, and you can choose it if you want both high or low airways. Just check the database cycle is the same as whatever FMS you are using if you want to use the FMS, and that makes sure the SIDS and stars are all the correct ones. Tick which of these you want to use. SIDS, stars, RNAV, TACAN routes, North Atlantic tracks. I don't generally do North Atlantic, so that's disabled. Click find route, and then what it will do is it will have a look around on the internet and it will work out all the information, and it comes up with this, and it's a very, very, very basic flight plan. And you can see London Heathrow to Edinburgh, 12 fixes, 290 odd miles, and it goes through all the various mileages between. This is your flight plan. As I say, it's very, very, very brief, because at the end of the day it's free. If you want more, you have to sign up for things that cost money. But nonetheless, this is excellent. So it gives you your waypoints that you're going past, the frequencies, the tracks, distances and coordinates of all the things. So that's useful. But this line down here is probably the most useful, because if you're using an FMS, this is literally your routing that an FMS, you'd need to enter into an FMS. So you don't enter all these details, you just type that in and put that in as your series of waypoints and addresses in the FMS, and Bob's your uncle. Bingo, there's your route in, done. Venetubo, I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a very useful utility. FSX and to a lesser extent Prepared are very, very finicky and picky programs, and out of the box they don't necessarily run as efficiently or as effectively as they can. As well as that, given the development of modern machinery compared to when FSX was first implemented, there is a vast difference in between the actual programming of FSX and the capability of modern machinery. So what this program does is you basically follow the instructions. So I've got a 4-thread CPU, hyperthreading is not active, speed of the CPU is 4.3 or more, video card is GTX 480 or better. Would I like it applied? No. Optimization preferences normal or conservative, and then you follow these instructions, and then once you've done all of that, you end up with a new FSX config file, which basically should improve your performance of FSX. Now obviously it's not guaranteed, and one of the key things it is important to do is to save or back up your FSX config, because you can act on the analysis. You don't have to, but one of the things I would suggest is if you're ever looking at changing anything in the FSX config, always back up. They do it as well, but I think they only hold it for about 24 hours. FSXim is renowned for its online ATC, which is basically what it does. But it does have some really useful resources that if you're not a member you can get access to. So there's a lot of stuff obviously about FSXim, but there's stuff that goes beyond it. So if I go to FSXim Pilots, you've got Pilot Resources, which is Chart Finder and Air Charts. The Chart Finder is particularly useful because you can basically look at a country. So I don't know, say I want to fly to South Korea in my 747, I'd be able to click on that and find what charts I can get that are available for it. But going back to this, it's not just that. This section down here, Pilot Training Department, this is the one. It's got a lot about the FSXim pilot training, but it's got its own little resource centre, which is really useful because then what it goes into are its lesson plans. So it's got how to use FSXim, but if you come down to say the VFR or IFR specific lessons, and it gives you lessons on, very simple, easy to follow lessons on particular topics. So this one is basic instrument approach procedures, and it goes through the different sorts, localizer approaches, it goes through the charts, how to interpret those. Really useful information here, guys. This is not to be underestimated in terms of how useful it becomes. Clearances, all sorts of stuff, airways to airways, you name it. Useful website. It's the kind of thing that if you don't really know it's there, it's easy to miss these things. And then finally we've got this flight simulator checklist or free checklist. Basically this is a website where a lot of people have put free checklists on for a vast number of, you can see how many aircraft here, and some of them you won't necessarily get sort of professionally released checklists for. So for example, I don't know if there is anyone who does a payware TB20, but if I click that, I can get a TB20 checklist. And let's see what we get. Here we go. Now these aren't necessarily professional checklists, but if I've got a TB20 GT model that I've downloaded as freeware, for example, here's a checklist I can use. So even if the download didn't come with one, a nice easy free checklist. So yeah, there we go. So all of that is cracking. We do like all of that stuff. I hope you find some of this useful. Certainly I've found a lot of it useful over the years, and it's amazing how much stuff is out there on the systems for free, on the interweb, the intranet, however you wish to look at it. As I say, guys, if you do like the videos, please don't forget to like, share or subscribe, and if you've got any further requests for things you'd like me to look at, then please feel free to let me know, either through Google Plus or through a message on one of the videos. I generally pick them up and can see them quite quickly, and I do hope to speak to you guys soon. Take care.